think we'll sort of get started. So number one, thank you everybody for joining. Thursday, it's not the nicest day in Toronto, but still glad to be on the webinar. I hope everybody's having a great day. Today we're going to be talking about Word templates and document attachment. So our last few webinars have been about add-ons, and these are the previous webinars were about add-ons or solutions that you would have to buy from E1 to sort of accomplish the functionality that we were showing. Everything we're showing today is part of GP, so that's good, nothing else required. We're going to be showing document attach functionality, which does require a specific version and up of GP, which Sam, I'll let you come to that down the road. I won't steal your thunder. And as always, we're going to spend most of our time today in GP and not in PowerPoints. But as always, I'm going to kick off everything with a quick intro, and then we'll end with some of our next events that are coming up, as well as the videos of our previous recording sessions, and of course, lastly, our giveaways. So with that, let's kick off to the intro slide. And a couple housekeeping items just for those of you that are new or haven't joined our sessions before. I cannot hear you, unfortunately, but if you have a question or we're losing you, just write it in the questions box and we'll come to that at the end. If I see it as Sam's talking, I'll maybe try and interrupt him, but otherwise we'll come to it at the end. So we are, of course, a Microsoft Dynamics GP partner. We are based out of Toronto, Canada, little Canadian joke there. We're very passionate, obviously, about training and educating everybody on GP, what it can do, what it can't do, and keeping you all ahead of the curve. Whether you use us as your partner or not, please keep joining. Hope you guys are getting value out of these sessions. Something that I think, scrolling through some of the names of those of you that have joined, I see quite a few of you are currently working with us, but those of you who are not, we do run a sort of a loyalty program. So every year we give away 5 free hours to all of the customers that have us selected as partner of record. So for you small GP installs, it's a great way of getting, maybe all the support you need throughout the year if you're not, heavy users and you don't have many questions or issues. So if you're interested in using us as your partner, please do reach out to me. I think my email will be on the last slide, but if not, you can email me at info@gp365.ca. One other quick item to mention, aside from just being a GP partner, is we also have a GP hosted product that we have developed inside of Microsoft's cloud. It's a really great solution and platform. You're always on the latest version of GP, don't have to pay for GP upgrades. And of course, that is called GP365, and you can check it out at our website. So with that, enough of my salesy stuff. Sam, maybe I'll kick it over to you. I think we're going to start off by giving you sort of a high-level overview of what we're going to be talking about today, and then we'll get into the actual demo of each. And I'm not sure of the order you're going to go in, Sam, but take it away.
Yeah, awesome. So I'm going to actually start off with document management, and then I'll jump into the Word templates. And then right after that, I'll jump right into GP. So we'll just kind of talk about them briefly, just what they are and what are some of the functionalities that we get out of them. So for document management, first things first, you do have to enable it. It does come pre-shipped. And as John was mentioning earlier, I guess I'll get this out of the way now. If you have GP 2013 R2, anything below that does not support document management. That's when the feature actually came out. So if you are looking through your GP and you don't find or you can't find the steps that I'm going to do in GP to enable it, don't be alarmed. It's just that you need to upgrade. So with document management, what it allows users to do is upload many documents to certain folders for easy access. Now, if you're printing something or invoicing something out, for example, and you need to attach these supporting documents, sometimes you have to, after printing it, add them to the email or do whatever in order to get those out. With document management, you can attach them right to the purchase order or to the sales invoice, and you can print it out as one big package that you can send to your customers, vendors, or any other interested parties. So that's one of the benefits of the document management. Plus, it's also a way for you to keep track of what has or has not been sent out. Because anytime you go into the invoice, you'll see what was attached and what wasn't, and what needed to be possibly added at a later on date. So that's kind of like that's a high level overview of document management. Now I'm going to show you, when I actually show you document management, I'll show you how to first enable it within GP, and then we'll attach documents to various invoices or purchase orders or quotes or whatever we have, and we'll see how they flow through to the other side. All right, so that's document management. The next thing we have are Word templates. Now, Word templates, I'm not going to get into a little. This is just kind of like a caveat. We're just scratching the surface. There is a lot more that you can do with Word templates. They're very powerful, but given the limitation of time, we're not going to go into that much detail. So what it allows users to do is take predefined templates or create one right from scratch and make any changes as you see fit. It's easy. Creating them is actually pretty easy to use and doesn't require much effort, but sometimes getting them to actually, be the template and work like that can be a little bit of an issue. So those are some of the questions that we get, and I will try to address those. As I go throughout the Word templates. All right. So what users can do is they can modify. They can change the fonts, change any logos that they want, the settings they have for companies, what default companies are going to have it. And if you can't add a field, for example, that you see within Word, you can of course add it, but that is another session which we'll talk about in Report Writer. Whereas in Word templates, what you can do is you'll have a specific list of fields. Now, one key thing I want to point out is there's something called Dynamics GP field, and you'll see that when I go into GP. So again, that is something that you might need to get somebody to install for you, because it isn't something, it doesn't always come pre-shipped. It doesn't always come enabled. Now, in that regard, if you do need to get that installed, then definitely reach out to us and we can do that for you. All right, so with that being said, I think you guys are all probably ready to actually see it in action now. So we're going to jump into the demo. So let me go ahead and just switch over to GP if I can find it. Here we go. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is document management. So you can see here, I'm logged into GP, and I need to first of all enable the document. So to do that, you're going to click on the Microsoft Dynamics GP dropdown, click on Tools. From there, you're going to go to Setup. You're going to go, and then from here, what you're going to do is you're going to go to Company. And if you scroll down here, you'll see the document attachment setup option here. So over here, by default, it is usually not enabled. So to enable it, simply go ahead and allow it. Then you can also define the default location. So this will actually provide you a place to store your document. So what I would recommend is probably just storing it somewhere in your system file. So I'm going to just do it in my, I'll do it for myself. So I'll do it in this folder, and I will have it right on my desktop, or right in my document, sorry. So once I do this, anytime any files are saved, you can choose this option. And of course, your IT team would probably be much better. We'll probably want to save it somewhere else, but for now, we can go ahead and create it here. And I'll create a new folder here, and I'll just call this one Document Attachments. Okay, perfect. And I'm going to save. So that's the path that has now been saved. And of course, you can choose any path that you wish, but for the purpose of simplicity, I've just kind of put it on my Documents tab, just so it's easier for us to go and see where everything is saved. Okay. So once you've done that, you can also determine what's the maximum file size that you can upload into your documents. So right now, you can see it's 999.99 megabytes, which is okay. It's not it's too bad. I'm going to leave it as is, but of course you can adjust it. If you are running low on memory or storage, this allows you to kind of control that a little bit, so somebody's not loading a huge document into it that's like a gig or something. And so this will give you a little bit more control over that. All right. Then we have a bunch of options at the bottom here, which I'm going to go through. So this allows users to determine if they want to delete any attachments. If there is an attachment that has been added, so let's say maybe one user added an attachment, but you don't think it's applicable or it's not relevant, you can delete it. And if you want to control that, who can and cannot delete, you can enter in a password here. For now, I'm not going to enter any password just because it's easier to kind of go through like this. Plus, I have a history of not remembering passwords correctly, so I don't want to create one because I will forget it. So I'm going to leave that as is. And then moving right along, you can also allow attachments to be added in inquiry window. So whenever you're running an inquiry, you can attach documents to particular invoices or transactions or even purchase orders, just so that if you've missed something while you were creating the invoice itself, when you're running the report or running an inquiry, you'll be able to see it and you'll be able to add it. All right. Then at the bottom here, you can also allow attachments to flow from customer maintenance window. So if there's one information that you've always wanted to flow from the customer maintenance to, let's say, the sales or invoice or anything like that, you can. So that would be something like a customer contract. Maybe the customer is a government customer, government customer, and they require a certain set of documents to be printed or to be attached to the invoice every time that it's sent out. You could do this, and you could allow that to flow from. You could attach it to the customer maintenance window, and you could allow that to flow to the invoice. And again, it's just a package that's being built up. But the only thing that'll vary on those instances would be the document would be the same, but then you'd have the invoice that's being printed along with it. All right. Same thing here. So item maintenance is for inventory, and then of course vendor maintenance. And if you have any employee expense, you can also do that. But for now, we'll leave it as is. Then you can also select this option at the bottom here, which allows you to send attachments in email. So if you need to send out your attachment, if you're not printing out the attachment like one big package and you actually want to just send it out as an email, by enabling this option here, the system knows that you can now actually send that out. So I'm going to do one thing here. So see what we've created. I'm not going to save this because I want you to see. I want you guys to see what it's going to do. So let's go ahead and discard that. If I go to financial here, or let's say I go to purchasing here, sorry, and let's say I'm entering in a purchase order. You can see here there's no option to attach. The only way you can kind of attach is if you click on the Documents tab here. So let me go ahead and just select one. If you click on the Notes option here, sorry, this is where you can attach. Now this is only attached to the note itself. What the attachment when I enable the attachment management functionality, it's an actual button attached right to the PO. So that's something I wanted to point out. So let's go back and just enable that quickly. All right, company, document attachment setup, allow it, perfect. All right. Okay, so once you're done, go ahead and click OK, and now the functionality is enabled. So if I open up the screen now, you'll see an option at the top here to attach directly to the PO as opposed to adding it to the notes of a PO or an entry. Okay, so that is how you that's how you would enable the functionality for attaching documents. Now, of course, I'm logged in. I have almost SCA access rights, like I'm very close to it. So if you were trying to do this and you do not see that option or that window in your dropdown, that's probably because you don't have access. So you may have to talk to your system administrator or the administrator who's in charge of it, and they can provide access or they can just enable it for you. All right, so now that we've set it up, let's go ahead and attach a few documents. So this is our PO number. We'll enter in some buyers. So let's say we want Terry Adams. And I'm just hitting tab on my keyboard, by the way, to move to the next available field. So I can enter in a project number if I want, or you know what? Let's just go ahead and use an existing PO. So let's just use this one. I have this one. Yeah. And so once I have my PO, what I can do now is I can go ahead and attach documents to it. So if you want to attach something like a note and you want to attach a document there, by clicking on the note button here, you can write something. So maybe this is a supporting document. All right, and then you can hit attach, and you can also click on this little clip icon to browse your PC and see what else you have. Now this screen is going to look very similar to when I use the attach functionality. The only difference is I'm just attaching it to the notes as opposed to just directly attaching it to the PO itself. So if you want to add something, simply go ahead and click attach. Find that item on your, in your desktop. So let's say this is purchase order, and I want this. Perfect. I'm going to go ahead. Now that it's added, I'm going to go ahead and just hit OK and hit attach. And you can see here now that I've added something, this note now has like some scribbles or some writing on it. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but this essentially knows that there is a note that is attached, and this will now this now has some records in it. All right, so I'm going to do one more thing. I'm going to attach one more time. So I'm going to use the attach functionality again, and I'm going to attach again. And this time, let's do PO3. Okay, and once I'm done, I can simply go ahead and click OK, and it'll attach it for me. At this point, now that I've attached everything, I can go ahead and click print, and I can print only the documents or print everything that I have. So I'm gonna print everything. So I'll do print documents here, and I'll also send the document an email just to show you what the functionality will look like. And I'll go ahead and hit print. So I'll enter in an email address. Okay, so it's just going to show me a printout. So this just lets me know that email functionality has not been added, but essentially these would be all the items that you would have to set up prior to it being emailed out. But I just want to show you this is how you would hit the email button, and it would kind of send it all out for you. It would actually open up Outlook or whatever your default exchange is, and then it'll send out that email with the attachments. So you can see here we got the PO. All right, so that is essentially how you're going to attach documents to specific POs or specific transactions or invoices. Now, what I want to do is I want to go back. So we know this is PO 997 over here with the attachments. So I'm going to go to the inquiry window here, and we'll do purchase order documents. I'm going to pull up that PO. $997. Okay, redisplay. Oh, sorry. All right, here's our PO. So from here, we can actually drill right into it. We can see the documents themselves that were attached to it. So if you click on the attach functionality here, you'll see that you've already attached this document. And if you want to preview it, simply go ahead and hit preview, and you'll see that in a Word format. So this is what was uploaded to the purchase order. All right, so this is now attaching documents is basically the same throughout all the screens. So this is for purchase orders. If I wanted to do for sales, it'd be more or less the same. For the sales series, it'd be more or less the same thing. So if I come into the sales series here, let's say sales transaction entry, and instead of entering an invoice, I'll just go ahead and use an existing one. So let's do this one, and again, I can click on the attach functionality here, attach whatever I need to. So let's go ahead and, maybe we're just going to attach our logo here. Why not? I can go ahead and do that, click OK, and now I've got a document attached to this sales transaction entry. All right. So enabling this functionality is essentially giving you the option to put all of your information into one concise location, so you don't have to go back and dig for the document. All right, so that is document attachment. That's how you turn it on. That's how you attach documents to the various transactions or invoices or purchase orders. The next thing I want to talk about is the word templates. Now, the word templates, the biggest thing about word templates is knowing which word templates you're using. So I'm going to first show you how to get access to the word template. So we're going to go ahead and work on a word template for, let's say, a purchase order. So maybe we don't like the way a purchase order looks and we want to make some adjustments to it. So to go into GP and get access to that template, you're going to click on the reports drop down. From here, you're going to select template maintenance. Okay, now you have to find that report first. So you can click on this drop down. Now you can see here, because I was searching for the various reports, I can see a list of it there. But if you don't see your report from the list, we're going to just go ahead and click on more reports. It's going to give you this pop-up asking you which series and which product you want to look for. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the product, which of course is my Microsoft Dynamics GP. I'm going to click on the series. So it's under the purchasing series, and I'm looking for purchase orders. Then it tells you about the status. So I'm going to get into this more in a little bit, but for now, I'm just going to go ahead and select the status as all report. And I've got quite a list of information, quite a list of templates to go through. So instead of going through and trying to find that list manually, I can just type in if I know what the name of it is. So I'll just type in purchase order. And as soon as I hit enter, you can see it shortens the list for me. So it's only got this many options. Now I'm looking for, I'm trying to modify my purchase order blank form, but you can see here you've also got two statuses, original and modified. So I'm going to start off with the original. So click OK, and you can see this is the form, or this is a template, sorry, that comes pre-shipped with GP. So anytime you print a purchase order, this is what's actually going to be printing out. Now, what you can do is you can't modify original forms. GP doesn't allow that. So what you have to do is you have to basically create a modified form of it. So I'm going to again go back here, and you'll see you can tell what status of the form is by looking at this little status icon here. So it lets me know this is the original form. So this won't actually allow me to edit it even if I try to. So I'm going to go ahead and just find a new. I'm just going to find my customized. So if you need to create a modified form, you can actually, once this is loaded, click on new, and it'll ask you, what do you want to do? Do you want to create a blank template? Now, if I create a blank template, it's going to be just one big Word document with nothing in it, and it allows me to start from scratch. Or I can use the existing template, which of course over here is my original template, and have it copy, and then I can modify it so I don't have to start from scratch and make the changes. So once I've selected it, I'm going to go ahead and click on from existing template. This is the list. So I'm going to select that template, and from here at the bottom here, now this is very important, this is the name you're going to give to your template name. So obviously you don't want to be confused and figure out, hey, which is the template that I'm using. So it allows you to override the name. So for now, I'll just call this POP purchase order other form modified. All right, so that's the name of the actual template. Once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and click create, and it's going to create that second report for me. All right, so once I have this report, to modify it, I'll select that report, and I'll hit the button modify, and it's going to open up the Microsoft Word.
Just wanted to quickly acknowledge, I see a few questions here. Just letting you know, we're going to come to them at the end, just so that I don't interrupt Sam's flow any more than I already did. So we'll come to everybody's questions in just a couple minutes. Sorry, Sam, just keep rolling.
Yeah, no problem. So you can see here, this template itself actually has nothing inside of it, so that's good. And we can see that this is what you would get if you had to start from scratch. I'm just going to close this because obviously we're not going to do that. So I have to find a different form. So I'm just going to use my modified report. So again, I'll go ahead and just click new, and I'll copy from an existing template. So I'll copy it from my modified. All right, once I'm done, I'm going to go ahead and create. All right, now that it's open, I can click modify, and it's going to open up Word for me. All right, so here is my standard template. So I guess I must have been changing the templates while I was practicing, so that's why you saw that blank one first. Okay, so this is the template. This is the template for the purchase order itself. Now, what I want to show, as I was mentioning earlier with regards to the Word templates, is there's a Word add-in that you have for Dynamics GP. Now, the Word add-in can actually be found in the Developer tab. Now, for me, it's enabled, but you'll find that even when you open up Word, it's actually not there for you. So to make sure that this is enabled for you, you actually have to enable the Developer ribbon. So to do that, click on File here, select Options. Under Customize Ribbon, you'll see the option for Developer. So just make sure you have the little check mark beside it. That way it's enabled. And once you're done, just simply go and click OK, and you'll get the developer icon there for you. Now, this will simply enable a developer ribbon for you, but it won't necessarily give you access to field lists. So this is something that you need to either reach out to us or whoever your SA or administrator is, would essentially have to enable that for you. But if you're having any issues with it, or if you need any help with it, definitely reach out to us, and we'll walk you through and we'll help you out with that. Okay, so because we are now modifying the purchase order, this is kind of what it looks like. So you can kind of see, you can kind of go through it. You see a lot of X's, but this is actually a lot of the fields that we have within GP. So these are mapped currently to the purchase order. So if I was to go print it, if I was to go into GP and print the form, these X's are actual specific information. So let me go ahead and show you what I mean. So if I hover over this, you can see here, this is just the company name at the top here. So it's ship. So for example, this option is to ship to. It puts in the company name, and at the bottom here, if we go here, you've got the address line, and you've got the ship to address line and ship to address line 2, 3, and so on and so forth. So this is essentially what the current PO is like. Now, if you need to make any modifications to it, you can. So maybe I wanted to, this is my company's name. I'm sorry, this is my location name, and then over here is my company's address. Maybe I didn't want my location to be bolded. I can actually click on this and just, you go back to the home tab here, unbold it. If you want to italicize it, if you want to bold it, underline it, whatever you want to do, you can do that here. Increase the font, whatever it is that you need to do to make this Word document more to what your company needs, what your company would need to work on. That's what you can do. The other option is under the developer option here. If you click the field list, you get this little menu on the left here. So from here, if I click on the drop down, I can choose the purchase order blank form. So these are the form fields for the purchase order. Now with this purchase order, I can add specific forms, specific fields to the form, and I can save it and upload it to GP. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But first, you can't simply just take a form from here and drag it over to here, or take a form from here and drag it over to here. There's specific, the way GP breaks down a Word template is you have a header, you have a body, and then you have the footer, right? So that's the three. So we see the body, the footer, and we see the header. And then, of course, you have the page header, and you have the report header, and then you have the report footer and the page footer. So they're a little bit different. The way GP looks at it. So if you have the page header here, i.e. here, this is kind of the information that you would have on the actual page itself. Versus the report header is more or less the same as the page header, but the only difference is it has a few more options. Now, I wanted to talk about one more thing. So you'll see here you have two fields here. You have captions. So you have captions and you have fields. Now, what a caption does is it's like the title. So, for example, if I wanted to add the page number, that's the title over here. And if I wanted to add the field, for that page number, that would be something down here. So let's go ahead and do that. So let's go ahead and add something here. So I'm going to click on the captions here, and maybe I want to see. Let's see what I can add. And remember, this is a page header, so this has to go in the header, which is at the top here. So I've got the page here, I've got the purchase order, and I've got the purchase order number and the date. And over here, of course, I've got the exchange rate prompt. So what I can do is I can add something else here. So just for the purpose of the example, let's go ahead and just add. Let's see what I want to add. Maybe I want to add a little description here. So I can go ahead and I can take that field and drag it from there, and I'll add the description here, and then I'll click to the right of it, and I'll go down, and I'm going to find the description, the caption's been added. I'm not going to find the field for description and add it to GP. So if you're looking at these fields and you're like, this looks like gibberish, you're not wrong. It's just, this is very technical, so I don't know why. Sorry, you're not wrong, but like once you understand it, I think it'll be easier to see. So you can see here, this one says POP_PO. This is letting you know what kind of form it is, and what kind of field it is. So for example, over here we have the POP_PO, a document date, and so on and so forth. So let's go ahead and find the description.
This reminds me a lot of the Matrix, Sam. You're scaring me a bit.
Sorry? It reminds me
a lot of the Matrix. You're scaring me a bit.
I mean, once you get into it, like a lot of the time, I find that a lot of users are actually prefer to use Report Writer just because, it's actually no. Sorry, you know what? this shouldn't scare you, because if you were looking at report writer, that would scare you way more than this. And I'll just quickly, once we're in GP, I'll actually show you just kind of what it looks like, just to really drive home the fact that this is an easier way for you to do it. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and just find the description. And sometimes what happens is you may have a field within, you may have a field, but you may want to add a field, but you don't see in this list here. Now, just to kind of speak to that, that's again, report writer, and it's a little bit more complex, but just to kind of give you an overview, what that would involve is you would actually have to open up this template within report writer, and within report writer, you would add that field, create that XML source, and then you would have to attach that, you'd have to link that source to this here. Again, that's this button here, but I don't want to go into too much and confuse you guys. So that's kind of what you would do in the event that you don't see a field here that you want to add. You can add it into GP. It's just you have to do it through Management Reporter first and have it flow and create an XML file for it, and then you just have to add that source to this Word document so that it knows that, hey, this is the additional field that I need to add here. Okay. So I did have description initially when I looked at it, but I don't know why it's not here. So I'm going to change my field. Instead of it being description, we're going to add something else. Now, if you want to delete anything here, just simply click here, and you can just hit delete on your keyboard. Sorry, click the little blue icon there at the top. You'll know it's selected when you see a little blue, and just hit delete, and it'll delete that for you. All right. So you know what? I'll just add page here because I know it's there. All right. And of course, you can modify this if you don't like the way it looks, or if you want to bold it. You have the option of, so let's go to the Home tab here. I can bold it. You know. All right. Then I'm going to go to the bottom here, and I'm going to find the page number. And of course, if you hover over these fields, you will see what you can actually see the name of it as well, because like sometimes it's hard to see. You can expand it, of course, but it kind of takes away from the real estate over here. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and I can't seem to find it. All right, one last time. We're just going to change it one last time. I'm just going to do ship to, and over here at the bottom, I'm going to just do shipping address 1. Okay, so now that I've added it, all I'm going to do is save my changes. So if you want to save your changes, let me just exit out of this, click on File, hit Save As, and you want to save this into a different file so that it doesn't get confused as to where it is. Now you want to find it somewhere. You want to put it somewhere you can easily find it. So for now, I'm just going to save it onto my desktop, and I'm going to call this PO form adjusted, just so that it's differentiated from the modified report. I'm going to go ahead and click Save. It's just letting me know it's going to update the newest file, which is fine. I'm going to go ahead and click OK. All right, now that the file is saved, so it's a separate file, I'm going to close this file, go back into GP, and I'm going to upload this. So you can see here right now, there's no file called PO form adjusted. So to upload it, I'm going to go and click on the green icon here. From here, it's going to bring up my PC saying, where did you save it? So I know I saved it onto my desktop. So I'll go there, find my PO form adjusted, click open, and it's going to create that file for me. Now at this point, if you wanted to, you can go back and delete the other files that you don't need. So to delete it, simply select that template and just click the little red button and it'll remove it. It'll ask you the template you've selected to remove, maybe assigned to one or more entities. If you want to remove the template, then those entities will use the default template. It's just letting you know if you remove it, what's going to happen is it's going to set the default template or the original template as the template that it will now print on. So that's what that is. Okay, now that I've uploaded it, in order for it to be printing the way you want it to, you have to first assign it to the company. So to assign it, you're just going to select that report, right click, hit assign, and then from there you're going to hit company. And then from here, of course, you get the IDs. So you get the various company IDs. So because I'm using our test environment, I'm in Fabricam. I'm going to go ahead and select Fabricam. I'm going to hit set default here. And sometimes you'll notice when you do this, you don't see your template here. I don't know what it is, but sometimes it takes a while for GP to update. So if you see this and you don't see the one that you need to create, just hit cancel and hit default again. Select the company again and hit set default again, and you'll see that it'll populate the next time. All right. So from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unselect this because this is a company which this is the template which is current which is currently being printed on. So I'm going to undo this. I'm going to go to POP form adjusted. All right. I'm going to hit apply. Okay. Cancel. I'm just going to hit save just so that it knows that it's now assigned to this company. So you can see at the bottom here that this is when this was assigned. It is now defaulted to this company, whereas these ones are not. And this is just my original one. Sorry, these are just my modified reports. Okay, so now that I've assigned my my word template, there's one more thing that at least for me, I think that a lot of users will run into is when they try to print it, it won't print on the modified report. And the reason for that is because it isn't enabled. So to do that, you're going to go back to the Microsoft Dynamics. I'm just going to close that screen, go to the Microsoft Dynamics GP dropdown, click on Tools, go to Setup. I'm going to go to System, and over here, I'm going to select alternate/modified forms and reports and just make sure that it's enabled. So I'm going to select the ID. So this is the ID that's going to view it. So it's just a default user. Okay. Under products, make sure you change that to the Microsoft Dynamics GP. Select a type, which of course is a report. And from here, as soon as I select the report, it automatically loaded the modified reports or lists that were created. So I don't have to go back in and do the series because it's already telling me there's a couple of modified reports in the purchasing series. So I'm going to go ahead and just expand it, and I can see, all right, so what did I upload? So I can see I've modified a couple of these different things. I can see I've modified these reports, and there's modified versions of those blank forms available. So this right here is the standard out of the box that come with GP, but these are the ones which are modified. And you can just click this little radio button to make sure that they are on the modified section. And once you're done, simply go ahead and hit save. And now when you print the purchase order or whatever document it is, it should print with the changes. So I'm going to go ahead and just select the purchase order. We can create a purchase order. If you have an existing one, you can just print that one. So I've got this purchase order over here. I'm going to go ahead and simply print it. All right. And I think I had the blank paper, so I'm going to go ahead and just print that one. Yeah, I had the blank PO. So I'm just going to print it on the blank paper, and it's just going to open up Microsoft Word for me. And it doesn't have my changes. Interesting. Hang on. So I was modifying it previously with my forms. So you can see it's got this with my logo. Sorry. So it's got this giant logo here. Hang on. Let me go back. This is not the one that I needed. So I'm going to go back here, select my PO, print it again. Yeah, I guess it was my other form. All right. Huh. I'm not sure why it's not taking my changes, but essentially when you've modified it, it could be that it just hasn't updated. Essentially when you modify it, it will have those additional forms and changes that you saved onto the template. One thing while I'm here I wanted to show you is Management Reporter, just to kind of show you what it looks like, and this is more on the advanced topics. You can jump into Management Reporter directly from this report. So to do that, simply go ahead and click Modify. And it's going to launch the Management Reporter for you. Alternatively, you could have done it through GP itself, and you could have modified the report through there. But you can see here, this is kind of the form. This is the form that we have for the PO, and these are all the different items that we have. And if you needed to add a field, you can add a field here. You can make it a calculated field. You can add it from here. And that way, the next time when you're in your Microsoft Word template, that field will appear and will allow you to add it to the template itself. So I just wanted to kind of show you that. But I'm going to go back into GP. And hopefully it's updated by now. So it should have printed so I'm going to try to print the purchase order again. It should now have accepted the changes. All right, so I'm just going to wait for it to finish loading, and we'll go back into the PO and we'll print it one more time. Okay, so I'm in purchasing. I'm going to go to purchase order entry here. I'm going to select my PO. So let's say this one, and I'll go ahead and hit print. And from here, simply go ahead and hit print. I'll put it onto the screen, or of course I can send it to my printer or file. Click OK. I'm not sure why it's not accepting my changes. Wonder if I'm missing something. Hang on, let me just try logging out and logging back in. Maybe that'll. Sometimes it takes a while for it to update. Okay, and I'm just gonna double check, make sure that I have assigned it to the company, and it is defaulted now. So modified. This is my form. Yep. Okay. 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 I'm not sure why this is not printing the defaulted form for now, but and I think it's probably just a matter of it not updating. But anywho, yeah. So essentially, these were the two items that this is how you could go in and modify your Word templates. Now I've assigned it. I don't know. I just don't know why it's not doing it. But once you do assign it to a company and you default it and you print it out the next time, once you've uploaded the new form and you've assigned it to a company and you've defaulted it, it does usually print it out. So yeah,
I'm just going to say one of the things maybe we'll do there too is once you figure out why that is, maybe we can send that out in the email that we'll send to everybody post sort of webinar, just to let you know the issue that Sam ran into, because you very well may run into the same one. So now you got to figure it out, Sam.
Yeah. No, I mean, hey, I'm going to. All right. Well, cool. That is essentially it. So that was the demo I wanted to show you, and I hope this was informative. I was trying to, as you can see, I was trying to get all the use cases that might come up, and one of them, I guess, has come up. So it is a little bit tricky. You got to play around with it a little bit, but once you get it working, it's an absolute beauty. All right.
Yeah, no,
so with that
great,
being
Sam.
said, yeah. Sorry,
really
I'm just going to pass it off.
Appreciate your help. I see lots of questions here, so I want to skip along pretty quickly here, and I also have a sort of a question to ask everybody. I'm interested in their response. So if we could maybe move on to the next.
Yeah.
All right. So just a quick item here. We have an event coming up on June 14th. That's our next training event. It's on GP Workflow. This is probably one of the more requested topics, as often GP workflow is not really used to its full capacity. So we're going to be showing some pretty cool examples of what you can do to sort of automate your life. So register to that. I think we have less than 15 spots left, at least before or this morning when I checked. So lock your spot in there. Now, I'm interested to find out what everybody wants to see next. I've had a variety of different topics sent to me, so I'm going to throw up a poll quickly. If you could just let me know if any of these topics sort of speak to you and, they'd be interesting enough that you would join. And if there's nothing on my list that's interesting, maybe write me in the question box of a topic that would be. So I'm just going to launch the poll here. So again, which training topic would you like us to cover next? This is probably going to be covered in our late June or early July sort of time frame, which is, I guess, vacation season. So kind of sucks, but it is what it is. Wow. So I definitely know what it looks like management reporter is the clear winner here.
Yep.
Yeah, we've had a lot of requests even outside of this webinar for that one to be covered. So okay, cool. It's also a pretty even split between AR and AP. So that might be something to throw on the radar too. Awesome. All right, I'm going to close this down and we'll move on to the giveaways and some questions. Okay, so last thing, a big thank you to everybody. If you, for whatever reason, can't ever attend one of these events, we try, and I say try because sometimes there's technical barriers that restrict us from doing so, but we try and upload all of our recordings into the resource section of our GP365 site. So if you've missed some of the previous sessions, go there, check them out. They're recorded. The top 10 GP tips was probably our busiest of all the webinars. So that's a pretty cool one. We show a lot of, really interesting tips in a short amount of time. And lastly, I think we're working with a lot of you and we really, really appreciate that support. But if you're open to working with another partner, reach out to us. If you're being serviced by your current partner and you're happy, right on. We don't want to mess with that. We're happy that you're being well taken care of. So let's move on to some questions. So Sam, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. So I'm going to go to Isabel's question first, which is, because I think she was the first one to ask. Okay, is it possible that the document attach functionality setup is not an option?
Is it possible the document attach functionality is not an option? Do you mean to enable it? I think I need a little bit of clarification.
Well, I think that it's not there. So I think some reasons for that. The first one could be security. So you may not have security to see that option. It also could be a version issue, right? Sam, what was the minimum version that GP has to be?
So it has to be minimum GP 2013 R2 in order, because that's when it was released. Prior to that, there was no functionality. So that could be the reason why you do not see it.
Got it. So that answers actually three other questions, is which version supports the document attach functionality. So Isabel, I know we work with you, by the way. So if you're interested, reach out to us after. Sam can give you a quick call and try and explain more. In your instance, I'm not sure which of those it is, but we'll take care of that afterwards. Let me have a look at some other questions here. Okay, there's one. Where is the data coming from for Word templates? And that's from Brenda. Yeah. So
a lot of the times, these reports that you actually see in Word are connected through Management Reporter, which I think if the poll is right, that's going to be our next next webinar. So what happens is when you're in Management Reporter, you have an XML source that you actually will then link to your Word document, the modified Word document, and that feeds back to GP letting like, hey, this has been modified, this is what we're going to use. Now, I didn't have to do that because we didn't make any changes to our actual Management Reporter. We were just simply adjusting the font and what have you. So with that being said, that the source essentially is is essentially the management reporter with that XML source that is linked to your Word form.
Cool. Now do I get to give away stuff like the Price is Right? And that's our last topic here. So we're going to go through the gift card giveaway. So just bear with me here. This thing loads. Okay, so we have 4 giveaways for today. The first one is going to Jeff S. The next one is going to Dennis C. The next one is going to Isabel P. And the last one is going to Sydney T.